guy driving a Porsche Eclipse. Welcome back to the Addicted Motors YouTube channel. Got something, well, not completely different, but not a Land Rover today. We're in a 2008 Porsche Cayman base model, 5-speed, and this car is for sale. So, the Porsche thing I think is a little different than most of the other car experiences because you can just buy it, and every time, and if you buy it, you get it, and if you get it, you drive it, and you drive it because you bought it. It's a very odd connection. There's a lot of, I don't know, I would say fluff, well, perceived fluff around the Porsche community and buying Porsches, and oh, you know, they're expensive, it's just another 911, it's just this. And you can have that opinion if you're, you know, a car person, a car guy or gal, but then you drive one and it completely changes your outlook on it. And that's kind of where we find ourselves with this particular 2008 Porsche Cayman. Now, my automotive philosophy when I first started getting into buying a real car, which was my 2005 911, was I was going to, after doing a lot of, I guess, research, was I was going to skip the BMW phase, because I noticed by going to like some track days and reading forums and watching YouTube that most BMW guys ended up as Porsche guys. They started with BMWs and they ended up with the best. And if you wanted something that was the most well-rounded, all-round, able to work on but not insanely expensive, it's just a Beetle at the end of the day, then that's where you might end up as a 911. This was back in 2018, before the huge price increase with COVID and everything like that. So, you know, a 996 or a 997 was not that desirable at the time. But that's a different conversation. Let's talk about this Cayman. So this was a CarMax trade-in that my buddy bought about a year and a half ago. It had less than 50,000 miles on it. It was originally purchased and owned out in Western Virginia. Like I said, low mileage. It was two owners. I think it was two owners in one family. And the car was actually in great condition. It was a CarMax car, right? So it had to pass CarMax inspection. It wasn't just an auction buy. The guy had the car traded for money. He got the car, it passed Virginia State inspection at CarMax. Then it was his car. Granted, he did all the things that you should do. He borescoped it. He put new tires on it. He changed all the oil, fluids, and filters. And then just drove it, because that is what you do in a car like this. These 2.7s is what it has, and 5-speed. You know, the clutch feels great. There's no real bore scoring concerns with the smaller engines. You know, they aren't as finicky, and I wouldn't say meticulous, but it's not as hard of a initial PPI. And again, that's in comparison to a 911. And guess what, guys? Even with the 2.7, we live in Richmond, in the city and the surrounding areas, and it's all the car you need for just kind of carving up the back roads. The mid-engine, the lightness of the steering and everything, you get in, it smells like a Porsche. Everything is Porsche. The view out the front is like a 911. The interior is like a 911. It does everything very well, and for a very good price point. You're not sacrificing anything, really, except for the 911 heritage, I guess, which some people care about and some people don't. I personally wanted that 911-ness. This, I feel like I can drive much harder. I think the lack, I wouldn't say lack of power, but the lack of torque really exudes confidence, especially with the PS4Ss. Again, these tires have less than 7,000 miles on them, so they're brand new, and the car just feels absolutely planted. And it's just enough power. It's all the power that you need. You know, this is in Texas. We're not doing massive highway pulls. I'm not racing. I'm not doing street racing in Camaros and drifts and takeovers. I'm just want to be able to put my foot down every once in a while and have a smile on my face. And I think that's exactly what this car delivers through the twisties. Suspension, very compliant. All the bushings, everything feels tight. Nothing wobbles and rotates or makes weird noises when you go over bumps. So you can just, so that gives you the confidence just to jump in and drive it. It's not such an experience when it comes to, you know, feeling like it's going to fall apart or having it feel fragile. So again, I wanted to do a quick, you know, 5-minute driver's seat talk, walk around, and that's pretty much what this is, of what you're getting if you were to purchase a car like this. These can be had these days under $30,000, which is great now that we're kind of out of the COVID bubble. And just like all Porsches, they made a lot of them. But it is harder to find one that doesn't have 1 million miles and isn't PDK or it's a, you know, an honest 6-speed car that doesn't have any issues. And again, with this car, you'll see in a second, the paint is not perfect. It has some dings. Obviously, there's no rust or anything like that, but it makes the noises too. It does sound good. It's a driver. I mean, that's exactly how you want one of these cars and how you want to experience it. It's not, you know, this car can be street parked. It can be, you know, driven normally without too much worry, and that's what makes something enjoyable. Another little pull, and I'm sure you can hear that in the background. Sounds good. Sounds pretty good, and it feels good too. Really, still, like I said, nice and tight. Let's check out what it looks like on the outside. So, there she is. Like I said, it's like a metallic silver. I'm not a color snob, so I don't know what it is off the top of my head. Got the fat Michelin PS4S's on it. Those things are pretty much new. And again, the car presents very well. It has the dual tip muffler in the back from the S, which I think looks great. You know, as you can see, I mean, the paint is not perfect. There's a couple little dings on the roof, but those are all PDRable. It's just nothing that the current owner really cared about. You know, that allows him to drive it and not nitpick all the little things on it. You just get in and go. So again, the car's in great shape, 60,000 miles, absolutely blast to drive. I mean, I don't want to label it as the entry Porsche. I mean, from a price point perspective, I guess it is. But other than that, it's all Porsche. I mean, the dash is no nonsense. There's no silly screen to worry about that feels backdated. Seats, even though they're not real sports seats, they do feel good. They're manual and power, which is awesome. Less things to break. You know, it's a good time. I think there's something to be said about that, right? You know, everything can't be super lofty and special and expensive. You know, this is a better Miata. This is a better Golf. This is a better, you know, Civic Si. You know, you can do it for that money, and that's exactly what this is. So again, if you're interested in something like this, I think we've got it priced around $27,000. Give me a call or shoot me a message, and we can talk about it, because this thing is well worth the money, and it has been very well taken care of, maintained, and, you know, done all the right things to. Now, last point that I just wanted to touch on before I end this video, how does it compare to the 911? At least my base model 911 to this base model Cayman. And I would say it is very comparable in the handling and ergonomics categories. From a power standpoint, there is less power. It's obvious there's less power. I know both cars don't have a lot of low-end grunt. That's the biggest change, I guess, or the biggest difference that I feel from driving a 997 base model 3.4 and a 3.8S. It's faster. There's a little more torque. You can start out in second gear if you want to. Not great for the car, but it's just one of those things you can do. But, you know, just driving around town, you're not going to feel that, especially if you're getting in from another car. I mean, if you're getting in from a GT3 to this, it's gonna feel slow. If you're getting in from my car, it's a little less noticeable, and it's an understandable drop in power due to the slightly more agile feeling that you get from the dynamics of the car. You know, you also get a little more room, except you don't have a back seat, but, you know, that's usually fine. There's a little bit more cabin noise due to the fact that the motor's right behind you, but it's completely agreeable if you take in consideration that there's a motor right behind you. So that's really it. Again, just a quick real world run through of how this car runs, drives, and feels. If you like this video, please check out the rest of my channel. Lots of other Porsche content as well as multiple other makes and models. Again, we're just kind of doing this off the cuff, but I appreciate y'all watching. Please like and subscribe and do all that fun YouTube stuff. Hit the bell. See ya.